So, how do you get your business expanding, growing? How do you get new clients so that you can start sharing your gifts and making some money? So, whether you're new and you need a jump start, or you've been in business for a while and you just need a bump in business, or maybe you've been sidelined by life circumstances or the pandemic, and now you're ready to get that jump start on your business again. So that's what I'm going to talk about today is my key principle around the idea of fun and fabulous follow-up. I will tell you it is a game changer. So welcome to Joyful Business TV. Hello, I'm Laura West, CEO of the Center for Joyful Business. I'm an intuitive mindset and business coach, author, speaker, and TV show host of Joyful Business TV. So for over 20 years, I have been helping conscious, creative, sensitive, and ambitious entrepreneurs who want a different way to run their business. It's not about soul-crushing strategies and hustle. Yes, you need to learn the business basics for sure, but there is a different way of approaching even the business basics so that you can be authentic, you can let out your creativity, and you can do work in a way that feels really conscious and meaningful and feels really good. So I hope that you find this TV show as an oasis of sanity in the business and marketing world. So on this show, we are going to be talking more on every episode about conscious and creative marketing and business strategies, ideas for how to grow your business in this way. We'll talk about your passion and your purpose and how do you bring that into your business. We're going to talk more about how do you make money doing work that you love. And I'm going to share all sorts of tools and resources and rituals that will help you plan and grow and really expand your business into one that you really love. We'll also talk about finding your voice, reclaiming your power, your creativity, and how do you step into that, use all of that so you can step into your message and show up as a leader in your business in a way that feels really good. All right, that's what Joyful Business is all about. So if you are here live, the way this works is that for 30 minutes, I'm going to share on our topic for today, and then I'm going to open it up. I'll turn off the recording. I'll open it up for you, and I'll be here to answer your questions. We can have nice, rich conversation and just hear about what's going on in your business. All right, so today I'm going to talk about how to jumpstart your business, whether you're new, whether you need a little bump, or whether you've been more sidelined by the pandemic or other life circumstances. But you have this desire where you're ready to jump back and get your business going again. So this is one of my favorite programs. It's a principle that I teach to all my clients, and it's called Fun and Fabulous Follow-Up. And when I say it's a game changer, it truly is a game changer. So I'm the creator of all sorts of products and programs, retreats by the sea, workshops, working with private clients, TV shows. And even with all of that, because I started out with a lot of that at the very beginning, even in my early years, I struggled with that idea of following up. You know, all my coaches would say, it's, you know, the money's in the follow-up. And I got it, because of course you need to follow up to get clients. But I was still confused, and I had a lot of questions about following up, like, who do I follow up with? You know, when do I follow up? If I wait too long, is 2 weeks too long to follow up after conversation? Is 2 months too long to follow up? Or what if I do it too quick? What if I have a luncheon and I come back from lunch and then I respond right away? Am I going to look too salesy? Like, those are all the things that when you're highly sensitive, intuitive, maybe you're on the introvert side, where connecting doesn't always come supernatural, that you wonder, what are the answers to these questions? And then there were more questions, and I've heard these from my clients. You know, how do I follow up? Do I follow up by email, phone call, messenger, text? So you know what happens is that a confused mind never takes action. So if you don't know how to follow up, you're wondering if it's too close, too long, then you're never going to take the action, and then you're just going to dig yourself into a deeper hole, right? That's how it works. So basically, you'll do nothing, and then that just continues the hole, right? Because then you really feel bad because you haven't followed up. So, and then what starts happening is you haven't followed up, in what you think might be a reasonable time, even though you're not sure what a reasonable time is, then you start feeling guilty. Then you start feeling disorganized. Then you start feeling overwhelmed. So, that just doesn't work, right? And I can remember back 20 years ago, back when, especially when we were trading business cards at networking meetings, and I used to have this stack of business cards on my desk, and they would literally start leaning over and start falling over, right? And I'd have scribbles of ideas on sticky notes and papers that I thought I should follow up with, but I just wasn't sure what to do, right? So I did grow my list, right? That felt like the easy thing to do. Like, okay, I could follow up and invite people to a free gift, nurture them with emails. And so I started going that route, and that works really well. However, it is more of a long-term strategy, which is great because you want to be in business for the long term and you want to nurture relationships with people because they're not all ready to begin with you right away. However, sometimes you need to just get some clients, right? You need to make some money, and you need to be doing your work right now. And so that's where Fun and Fabulous follow-up comes in. And not only do you need clients, but maybe you want joint venture partners, you want interviews for your TV show or your podcast, you want referrals and introductions. And so even with good automated sequences, that doesn't, people always respond better to that personal touch, that personal reach out. And so especially if you're doing some things like if you're selling programs or coaching or services that are bigger purchases, if they're over, say, $500 or they get into the thousands of dollars, most likely you are going to need to have conversations, right? People want to know who they're buying from. They want that transfer of trust. They want to know, like, and trust you and know that you're somebody that they want to work with. And so you're going to need a conversation. And I can tell you that there were times when just things happen in business, right? Happen in your life, and you get derailed from the trajectory you were on, from the growth that you were on. And I know that happened years and years ago when I went through a divorce, and you might go through health changes, health or moving or other big changes. Maybe you have a year where several of your kids get married or have babies. I've heard that from clients. And certainly COVID has taken sort of the life out of a lot of people for their business. And so when I went through a divorce a number of years ago, I really lost my mojo after that. And it really impacted my life. It impacted my business. And then what started happening was that I lost my confidence and my clarity, and it was like, okay, what am I really doing here? And so I did a lot of work with coaches, a lot of work with healers, so that I was ready to rebuild. And one of the big things that I did in my business was that I really started slowly. I simplified everything, and I just started focusing on getting private clients. And I started by reaching out to 3 people a day. Every day. There were no rules on what qualifies as a good, fun, and fabulous follow-up. Didn't matter who, didn't matter why, or for what reason. I just started putting energy out there consistently over and over again. That's what I call Flowmentum. And so it reconnected me to my friends. It reconnected me to colleagues, to past clients. And then from there, those clients became current clients again. And then I started getting referrals again. And then things started flowing again. And then I rebuilt my business to 6 figures just from doing fun and fabulous follow-up. And then from there, I started adding retreats and products and programs again. But when you're in doubt, one of the things you can do is come back to fun and fabulous follow-up. And to this day, I am still committed to fun and fabulous follow-up. It's one of the most important things that I do every day. So here's the essence, is that every day I ask, who are 3 people that I could reach out to today? 3 people I could just reach out to for any reason. Again, no rules. And reach out and just check in with them and see how they're doing. And so this simple system, I started sharing it with my clients, and they started seeing all kinds of results. Past clients wanting to come back, referrals that people kept meaning to do, introductions they keep meaning to do, but now because they reached out, they were like, oh yeah, I want to introduce you to so-and-so. I can remember one of my leadership clients was doing the Fun and Fabulous follow-up, and she had a CEO of a hospital that she reached out to, and she made it once a month. You know, she was going to reach out to him, and she hadn't heard anything from him. He was a past client, worked together for a couple years. He took a break, and then right about 3 months, all of a sudden he wrote her an email, and he's like, I'm not ready to come back, but I want to introduce you to the CEO of another hospital who I know was looking for a coach. And of course they hit it off, and she got a new client from that, from Fun and Fabulous follow-up. So, and I've led a program called a 30-day challenge, a Fun and Fabulous follow-up 30-day challenge. I've done this several times, and we've had 50 to over 100 people in this program. And oh my gosh, they get such tremendous results just from 3 reach outs a day, every day, right? They have created amazing connections that led to other opportunities, really helpful introductions for resources and support. They made new friends, which is really priceless, right? In this world, you need to have your friends with you. They connected with long lost friends. They connected, I know somebody who reconnected with a sister she hadn't spoken to in 6 years, and they've reconnected. People got in speaking engagements because they connected right at the right time, right? Synchronistically at the right time, and somebody said, oh, you need to be on my show. I had a client who had been going through cancer treatment, and he didn't have much energy to do much of anything at that time, right? But he did Fun and Fabulous follow-up, and he just reached out, checked in with 3 people a day. And from that, he got a solo art show and an art teaching opportunity in the next couple of months. So, I mean, that's just amazing, right? He'd even set out to do that. I had another client who set out, he started doing Fun and Fabulous follow-up, and he started reaching out to past clients, just touching base, checking on them. And 2 of his past clients said, oh my gosh, I'm so ready to hear from you. And they wanted to jump back into coaching, right? Like if he wouldn't have reached out, they would have kept just thinking that, and then maybe somebody else would have showed up and they would have went in a different direction, right? So as a result of just being consistent with that, you get more clients because you followed up and you were there, you're in front of them. You also get clients sooner than if you waited for them to call you. Like so often we think, I don't want to bug them, I don't want to be salesy, but here's what happens is you shorten that time period. And so you check in with them consistently. You know, I've gotten clients who might have been on the verge of going into somebody else's program, right? And they kind of forgot about me. When you're front and center and top of mind, they're going to go with you, right? I've gotten more collaborations, referral partners, just all sorts of magical, almost magical things happening. One time I reached out, connected with a colleague we hadn't talked in a while, and she's like, you know what, I'm getting ready to take a sabbatical, and a short sabbatical, and would you fill in for a Facebook Live to my group? All sorts of things. You just never know what's going to happen. I even had a colleague that we were both facilitating at an event, and we didn't have a lot in common. It wasn't like he wasn't my type of client. He was much more of a traditional type of leadership consultant. However, because I reached out, he went all through my website, loved how much I showed up with my passion for women entrepreneurs, and then he offered to buy a scholarship for a business owner that was in his church so that she could get into one of my programs. I mean, like, you know, you couldn't even put that in a vision story, right? It's pretty amazing. So, and here's the thing, and it's kind of the surprise benefit, right? Everyone who has ever done this with me reports that reaching out and touching 3 people's lives every day leaves you with feeling more abundant, more generous, more positive, making a difference, and more confidence. And you know what? If that's all you ever got from it, oh my gosh, how priceless is that? We all want to feel generous, positive, abundant, and confident, right? So I hope you're getting really excited about this idea. All right, so we're going to go into some of the basics here. Some of the basics of Fun and Fabulous follow-up. On some of the future programs, I'm going to go into more depth about types of conversations, mindsets of principles of mindset around Fun and Fabulous follow-up, joyful selling. We're going to talk about some of those different types of things. But for today, we're going to talk the most basic strategies so you can start integrating Fun and Fabulous follow-up as a daily success habit. So there are just so many marketing strategies. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of marketing strategies that you can do. But here's the thing is they all require some sort of following up or reaching out at some sort of time. All right. Online webinars, referrals, speaking, being a guest on a podcast, having people interviewed on your podcast or TV show, promoting your book, joint venture, getting joint venture partners for your products, selling your information products, whatever your signature marketing system is, right? You have to follow up with people to get stuff done. Finding a VA, you have to follow up with people, getting the speaking gig, being a guest, filling programs. Now, a lot of this can be automated, and that's really wonderful, and that feels really good. But here's the thing, when you're just getting something ramped up, or if it's over a certain price point, or you're just getting back into things, or you need a inflection of work, there's nothing like the personal reach out, nothing like it. All right. Or if you're trying to launch a new project like a podcast, you're going to have to do lots of reach out, right? Lots of reaching out to potential new guests. So, when I did the Fun and Fabulous follow-up and had over 100 people in the program, I followed up in all sorts of ways, right? I followed up from speaking engagements that I did, invited people to come into Fun and Fabulous follow-up. Networking events, that was what I was talking about, right? I had a pop-up success cafe in person. That's what I talked about. People need that nudge, that invitation, that reminder, that email or phone call, that text, Facebook message, LinkedIn message, something that says, hey, I'm thinking about you. Are you interested? All right. But here's where the difference is, right? You could easily get burned out when you're just following up all the time, right? I'm not naturally that extroverted. I can be extroverted for a time. I once had a coach tell me, like, well, if you just followed up with everybody on your list, called 100 people a day, you would get clients. And that to me was like, oh my gosh, that was so not my authentic marketing style, right? That sounded exhausting to me and sounded scary. And then it shut down my energy. But when I think about bringing my creativity and my passion and my desire to help people and be generous and be of service and just reach out to 3 people a day, no matter what, oh my gosh, that's like got a whole different take on it, right? All right, so that's what the idea behind Fun and Fabulous follow-up is to build your follow-up muscle in a way that's authentic, creative, and even fun. So you might even be reaching out to friends, to family members, to your current clients. Like there's so many people that you can reach out to, and we'll talk more about that as we go along. But the idea is just build up the muscle of reaching out to 3 people a day. All right. So, and what do you do when you reach out to 3 people a day? So that's what I hear from a lot of people. You want to focus on just, first of all, just getting yourself in a good vibe, right? Getting yourself, reading something inspirational, taking a walk, going to watch the sunrise, having your cup of coffee and reading something that, is inspirational. And then, look at your list of people, make a list of people that you could reach out to. And then just reach out to 3 people and say, here's a picture of the sunrise this morning. I was thinking of you. How are you doing? Maybe you got an idea for an article and you want to share an article actually with a client. You got this idea that you want to share an article with a client, and maybe you just share it with a client. Maybe there's a potential client. You say, hey, we talked a few months ago, and here's an article that's related to what we talked about. Maybe you see somebody else's article. Here's a podcast from Brene Brown. Thought you would be interested in that. That's actually what my leadership client did with the CEO of that hospital. She had shared a podcast from Brene Brown, and he was like, I love how you shared this stuff with me, and I may not respond, but I so pay attention. Hey, here's a referral for you, right? So now we're going to talk a little bit. I've got some suggestions for how you want to kind of set all this up, right? So number 1 is you want to have a system, okay, for knowing how do you follow up when you talk to somebody. So if you go to a networking event, or you have a virtual networking event, or you're at a conference, whether it's virtual in person or you're in a group, and somebody comes up that you're interested in talking to whatever reason. Maybe you're just having a virtual coffee. Maybe you have something in common. Maybe you just want to get to know each other. Maybe they could be a potential client. But you want to know what is your preferred method for how to reach them. So I always start with what is my preferred method, because that means I'm more likely to do it. Then the secondary method is, okay, what is their preferred method? Everybody's a little bit different, right? So my preferred method is typically email. I will start with email and I'll email the person. If I haven't heard from them, then I will do a Facebook message, okay? Or maybe LinkedIn, depending on which platform I think they're on more often. Now, you might be a phone call person. I just don't pick up the phone and call people randomly out of the blue because I know how my schedule is. I'm super busy and I don't answer all those calls anyways because most of them are probably spam or junk calls, right? Robocalls. But you might text, right? That's becoming more and more popular, and a lot of people will just reach out and text. It doesn't really matter the method. You just want to figure out what your method is, so that you're not having to make a decision every single time you come back to the office and you're sitting in front of your computer wondering what to do. Now, if you get a really strong hit, or you've heard that somebody really is on LinkedIn and they're answering all their LinkedIn messages and stuff like that, then by all means, use LinkedIn or use Facebook. I find a lot of people on LinkedIn, they get so many messages now on LinkedIn that are just robo messages, that a lot of people don't even see their messages anymore on LinkedIn. So you want to know what is that method that feels like it works for you. Some people are just natural conversationalists. A lot of you extroverts love to just be in conversation. And so you're just going to pick up the phone. Absolutely. Go ahead and do that. All right. But the idea is you do that and you do it every day, kind of like brushing your teeth. You brush your teeth, you come sit down in front of your computer with your cup of tea, your cup of coffee, and say, all right, for 15 minutes, I'm just going to reach out to 3 people. Who are you going to do it to? All right. Who are you going to do it to? But who are you going to connect with? All right. The second one is you want to know what you want too. Like, are you truly just connecting with a past client and saying, I just want to connect with you, see how you're doing, how are things going, how's your kid, how's your wife, how's, whatever is, how's business? That is totally, you just want to wish them a great day, happy Monday, fabulous. But maybe you want to invite them to a virtual cup of coffee, right? Maybe you want to acknowledge them in a success that they did. Maybe they just had a new book come out, or they were published in an article, or won an award. Maybe you want to offer a resource to them. So think about, what is your why? Like, why are you reaching out? Is it to truly make a connection, just send them some energy? Is it to send them something inspirational, so you want to be looking around for those things? Or is it to invite them into a conversation for, hey, my next retreat's coming up, I was thinking about you, wanted to see how you're doing and see if you wanted to have a conversation about it. It can be that easy. All right. And this is really important, I think, for introverts, is to think about, what it is that you want to do, because then it gives you some structure around it. It gives you a purpose. And for introverts, it's so much easier to reach out and connect when you feel like you have a purpose. I think extroverts typically can sort of dance in the moment, and it's a lot easier, comes a little more natural. For a lot of introverts, it's like, I like to have a structure. I like to have a purpose. Even if the purpose is, hey, you came into my mind today, it's just thinking about you. Here's a picture of a sunrise. Hope you're having a glorious week. You never know where they might send you back a message and say, that was the most perfect thing I did. I needed the message I needed to hear, and go from there, right? The third principle is that you want to make it fun and lighthearted and a pleasure to do, right? If you're like, I got to follow up, then like, who wants to do that, right? So have some templates on hand, share some photo quotes, have a handful of photo quotes. Whenever you see an inspiring article or a post on social media, make sure you save it and have a way that you organize that so that you can easily share those things with people. And so when you think of somebody, it's like, what would they like to hear? Oh, maybe they'd like to hear that last podcast that I did. Maybe they would like my free gift, or a new article that I published or somebody else published. All right. So you want to just think about that. Like, what would make it creative, fun, lighthearted? All right. Number 4 is you really want to look at your calendar and figure out, how can you make Fun and Fabulous Follow-Up a daily success habit every day, right? 3 follow-ups a day, every day. All right, weekends are optional. You can decide if you want to use the weekends for your family and friends, absolutely. If you want to take a break, right? There's no rules with this, all right? But it is every weekday, just reach out to 3 people. Again, you might even just reach out to a colleague and say, hey, I know you had a really big launch. How did it go? Just thinking about you. Or they're in the middle of a big launch and say, sending good vibes your way. Hope it goes well. All right, again, there's no rules. If you're on vacation, take time off by all means. You don't have to do it during vacations. Like, you don't have to create these rules that start constricting the energy, right? Just notice how you start going there. You are the CEO of your business. Design it so that it really works for you. All right. Now, the 5th principle is that you want to track it. All right. And so in my program, I have all sorts of forms so that you can track it, track your follow-ups, track your results, keep it all organized, create a list of people who are potential people, because you're going to need a list of people, right? When you start getting to the 2nd week and the 3rd week and the 4th week, you're going to be really pulling out like all these people. You want to go ahead and track it. And so make sure like, who did you follow up with? And maybe they were like, hey, I was just thinking about you too. I'm on vacation right now. I'd love to talk to you later. So then you put it on your calendar or into your CRM system that sets a reminder, hey, follow up with so-and-so. I do that all the time. I have people who I talk to about my retreat. Maybe they have a wedding going on that October and they can't, their daughter's getting married. And they're like, check in with me next year. So I put them on my follow-up system so I can check in with them next year. All right. Because otherwise I would forget. Like, you can't remember that kind of stuff. You can't keep all that stuff in your head. All right. So remember that this is a real business, right? This is what grown-ups do, right? They know who you want to follow up with. You put them on the calendar, you organize it, and you reach out to people. And again, you don't have to be all salesy with every single reach out. Sometimes you do want to offer people a conversation or say, hey, have you seen this? I thought you might be interested in it. You're doing them a service in that way. But a lot of them are just reaching out, having the conversations, connecting, seeing where it might go. I just had one the other day. We didn't even really know why we keep connecting. And we had the most interesting conversation about relationships. And then it morphed into, she wanted me to help her with the next layer of her growth. And then there was a project that she could help me with and thinking bigger about it. So you just never know where these things are going to go, right? So here's another golden key before we wrap up, is that you want to go beyond one call. All right. And that's a question I get from a lot of clients. It's like, well, I followed up once and they never responded. Right. Well, maybe they didn't get your email. Maybe they were on vacation. Maybe they were in a busy time. Who knows, right? Maybe they had something personal going on. I've had all sorts of times where, I made up a story like, oh, they didn't respond even though they said they were real interested. And it turns out, they fell down the stairs and tripped over their dog and broke all sorts of stuff. I mean, like, crazy stuff happens in people's lives, right? That has nothing to do with you. Like, it's not personal. So what I would do is follow up with someone. If you haven't heard with them in 2 weeks, give them another follow-up. And then I start moving it out further. Maybe I'll follow up once a month, depending on what type of client it is. Or if they've come back and said, wow, I've got this and this and that and this, I am super busy all beginning of this year. Then I'll just set a tickler, to reach out in 3 months or 6 months. Or with my retreat, people who are interested, I'll reach out at the beginning of the year. So a year later. Right? This is truly the #1 marketing activity that you can do to grow your business, is to set this follow-up system. And it pays off, because what you do today creates business in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, and even a year from now. All right, so we're going to wrap up for today. I hope that gave you some inspiration about creating your own fun and fabulous follow-up system. We'll be talking more about it on some other episodes. If you want more information about Joyful Business and all the cool programs I have that can help you grow your business, go over to joyfulbusiness.com and sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get a free gift, and then you'll get notified when we're doing some of these different programs. You also can go over to Facebook and join the Joyful Business community. If you just search for Joyful Business Community in the groups, and you can join our group. We've got hundreds of really great conscious entrepreneurs, joyful entrepreneurs who are in that Facebook group with us. So I hope to see you over there, and thanks so much, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching this episode of Joyful Business TV. I want to invite you to get more creative strategies and support for growing your business. You can start right now by activating your abundance mindset with a really powerful creative visualization that will help you get into the universal abundance current, one of my favorite things to do. And you'll also get a companion 7-day journal that will help you create a daily habit of co-creating with the universe. These are 2 powerful resources that you can get started right now to help grow your business and activate that abundant mindset. You just go over to activateabundancegift.com.